Melbourne take on Manly. Sunday afternoon footy. The best kind of Sunday afternoon. And Siwa Talkeaho. The 10-metre line. Tavanga picks it up. Runs towards the post. Talkeaho with the kick. Pappenhausen's lost it. And they kick it over the back, but there's a penalty to Manly.
Wow, it's been some start by Manly.
Leading point scorer in the comp with 60 heading in this afternoon, and he's about to add to the tally. Still a couple left for the Storm. They're throwing their good stuff at them, and Stefano burrows over. 5 away. They're hunting up again, this Melbourne Storm juggernaut. Hughes digs in, Munster steps, evades, gets through, reaches out, scores himself, the champion 5'8". Cherry Evans called upon to make the tackle. Munster lurking. Hughes, what about that for a ball? That's why he's the Dally M Player of the Year. That's a breathtaking pass by the New Zealand Test halfback. They've scored 3 in 5 minutes.
Jack, make sure you hold in.
Brown, Brooks runs onto it. And now Kohler busting into the backfield. Kohler beating defenders everywhere. I think he bounced it. 4th tackle. You fancy they've got to walk away with some points. It's an ordinary ball from dummy half. Somehow Manly have got it. Kawatu, that's cheeky. Back to Cherry Evans. Flat pass. Jake can't get there, can he? He keeps it alive. Here's Bullimore.
Oh, scramble.
Incredible attack. Remarkable defence. There's still a play to go. Brooks, he'll get there this time. Cole and Manly have got their first try. Tell you what they are doing. They're running towards the point scoring end in the second half. They finally get their penalty. The super boot nails it right on half time. McDonald half to a gap there. Strong charge by the Melbourne interchange. Tyro. Hughes over the top. Anderson cutting towards the line. Puts it down over. The Cherry Evans tackle on the 40-metre line. Munster and Hughes punches through. Munster's there on the inside if he wants him. He might have passed a little early, but Pappy's there and he takes off for the line, and Melbourne go back to back again. Under the black dot in front of the Bob Fulton stand. Pappenhausen, Katoa, Anderson, an open passage for try number 3.
Well, this is where they go to work here, Melbourne.
Oh, that's unbelievable. He just stands him up pointlessly. Cherry Evans attacking the line. Brooks holds a pass back. Away now to Kohler. Try number 2 for him.
Yeah, great play here by Luke Brooks. He's got the overlap. He has the ball in 2 hands. He's double pumping.
Here's big Kawatu. Fending away from Munster, delivering a backhanded ball to Jason Saab, and Manly have gone from one end to the other. To Bloor, then Munster goes to the right foot, rolls a kick in behind, ball's on the deck, Manly have got it. And the pass to Fulalo, who can motor if he gets into the clear. Oh wow!
Oh, yes!
Left to right spiral, here's Jason Saab. He's trying to wind up, draws and passes, Garrick down the middle. Look at the Melbourne jumpers back here. Garrick beats 1, beats a second. There's 7 players back there. The game's won and they're still desperate to save a try. Fulalo, who started it, backs up through the middle. That's remarkable.
That's entertaining. That's brilliant.
We've had 11 tries today on a stunning afternoon in Manly, and Fulalo goes steaming towards the corner. Dives towards the intersection of the sideline and the goal line and probably plants it down. 48-24. Melbourne over Manly in Sunday footy here at 4 Pines Brookie.
They got back into it, did the hard work to get back into it, then sort of fell out of it again.
Yeah, I think the game was won probably in 2 blocks. I think they scored 3 tries in consecutive sets first half, and then 3 tries consecutive sets in the second half. So, inside of those 6 sets, we either gave them field position, through a penalty or, fundamentals. And, they're a very good side, aren't they? So they made us pay, So it's disappointing because I got higher expectations than what we showed today.
Is that a case of resilience, like being an area, I guess, or turning momentum around, which has been an issue in the past, or is this a case of Melbourne being red hot and they're a very hard team to stop when they're red hot?
Well, again, you give them field position, they're asking a heap of questions, aren't they? We had I think they scored off the back of 2 or 3 play the ball fundamental errors. We give them field position and they were really good. They were converting sort of field position into points. I thought we kept fighting. It could have got really ugly there at one stage. We kept fighting, and strangely, it was 9 line breaks each. We made 9 line breaks, they made 9 line breaks. They were able to convert theirs a bit better than ours, but ultimately we lost the physical battle there. I thought they won that sort of middle part of the field. So that's where they beat us.
Anthony, do you think they're the team to beat? Are they the best team in the competition?
We haven't played everybody, but certainly they were very good. Their spine connected really well. Their middle forwards did a really good job. I thought the edge back rowers, they got a good team there. It's the team that made the grand final. I thought Stefano was very good for them tonight as well. So they're obviously one of the benchmark teams, if not the benchmark team. But they're too good for us tonight.
So you've got a difficult period of Perth, I think, tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah.
How are you going to handle that? Have you worked out how you handle that period? Will you rest some players? Will you give some players time off?
Well, we're well planned with regards to player loads and so on. But unfortunately, we've got a number of injuries, so I don't think there's any opportunity to rest any players or anything like that. But it's one job at a time. I'm not going to worry about 11 days down the track or whatever it is. We're really narrow focus. We've got to move on pretty quickly. We'll get over to Perth tomorrow. We've got to review the game and we've got to move on quick after that and focus on the Sharks next Saturday. So, I think we were well beaten tonight. We outplayed tonight. But there was also some parts of the game. We scored enough points, made enough line breaks, we give ourselves a chance, but we just got to physically be better, win first contact, and somehow, when good teams get that momentum ready, we've got to try and wrestle it back. So that's what we'll be focused on because we can control that.
We all know how the media works, right? There's a big section of the media, maybe even us. We talk about the past 2 weeks and whether that took a toll and that contributed to tonight. How do you respond to that? Both can ask you both how you respond to that.
Well, I'll answer. We've had 2 really good preparations. I thought we played really well against Parramatta last week. You saw what they did to the Dragons yesterday, who beat the Storm the week before. So it's a really tough competition. But I felt as though we had a really good preparation and we trained really well on Thursday. But sometimes you're outplayed. Sometimes teams are better on the dot on the day than you are, and that's what I felt like today.
How far away is Lockie Croker?
Hopefully round 7. Yeah, hopefully round 7. Him and Tommy Talau as well.
And Matt Lodge?
Lodgie's on a part-time deal, so we can't use Lodgie till round 11. But Tommy Talau and Croaks will be good ins for us. I think Croaks, he's had they both had interrupted pre-seasons, but all going well. They'll be back for round 7, which is good. Yeah, I think he's got a high ankle sprain there. They tell me it's minor, but I don't know whether he'll be available this week or not. Which would be disappointing for us and for Sabi because he's had a pretty fair start this season.
Is that the same? He had 2 sets.
Yeah, no, it's the other one. Yeah, but they tell me it's not too bad. Yeah.
I think Steve summed it up pretty well, mate. There's a lot to our game that we have to go and own and review, and ultimately, when you don't execute, you don't win the physical battle. and you play a benchmark side, you get 40 points put on you. So really disappointing day overall, especially where we played today. I'd like to have a bit more pride in our performance, but yeah, we were off and they were fantastic, and that's footy. We don't get the result.
Thanks, John. Craig, how gutsy is Jerome Hughes?
Yeah, you know, we know he's a good player and, you know, a smart player, but you know, he's a tough unit as well, you know, and to play tonight after, you know, the operation he had in his hand, again, there was no push from within the club, you know, from medical people, coaches, players, no one, you know, but he put his hand up and wanted to play, and I'm thinking he's thousands, you know, but he trained a couple of sessions, and then then we spoke to the medical people, and yeah, they checked it out and thought he was okay, and yeah, so to come out and play like only missing that one game after breaking your hand, that's pretty gutsy, and like I say, he's very important to the side, as we all know. And
then to play the way he did too, so it wasn't like he just played, but he started for you guys, really.
Yeah, like you know, plenty of tackling. I don't know how many tackles he made, but you know, they kept coming at him, and he kept standing up, you know, and obviously, you know, Harry'd probably be able to tell you more, but you know, just his organisation out there and his call and getting people into position and making the right calls, yeah, really important for us.
Just that, I guess there were two periods in that game too, where like you guys were able to take your chances, and like you only got a sniff twice, but it sort of blew the game wide open in both of them.
Yeah, you know, Manly have been in their home games, have been starting hard and they've been starting fast, you know, and you know, they've had built up a couple of really good leads, and so, you know, one of our mentalities was, you know, to try and restrict that, and we didn't really go into a defensive mode. We just thought, well, hey, we'll try and do the same, start hard and start fast, and you know, see what happens from there. So, like I say, we sort of stuck to that. You know, we completed really well in the first half, not so much the second half, which was a bit disappointing. But like I say, you know, we sort of reduced the effectiveness of their start, and you know, that really helped us, you know, for the rest of the first half, and then, you know, for probably 20 minutes the second half.
Right, we saw the difference in the Dragons game as opposed to this game in terms of your attack. Is that as simple as Jerome Hughes coming back into the team, or was it more expensive than that?
Yeah, it's a big part of it, Rudy. Like, again, and that's not a minus on Wish, you know, like he's been playing all over the place for us, and he hasn't played much half because, you know, our two halves have been, you know, they haven't really been injured, haven't been out much, you know, so it's a tough job to come into that position. But like I say, it's a big part of it, and you know, when you've got your normal halfback in there that's played, you know, there for years, you know, that just brings confidence to the team as well, you know. So, like I say, it's certainly not you know, a minus on Wish's game, because, you know, again, it's just so hard to go in after Yuzi's been there, and they've got different strengths and whatever. So, but like I say, it was really important for us that, you know, he played, and like I say, there was no pressure at all. He put his hand up, and that just goes to show what sort of, you know, teammate he is.
No, the other great story was Moses Leo. Second game of Rugby League in 5 years or something.
Yeah.
You got a bit of a baptism of fire that worked him over a bit.
Yeah, they did. I thought he'd done a really good job in the first half. The second half he got, you know, caught out a bit, but we sort of thought, well, we were hoping that he didn't get caught out, you know, too early, you know. But like I say, he didn't have a whole heap of you know, time, you know, with the team or with that edge or whatever. But you know, I thought he'd done a great job, especially in that first half. He was, you know, one of his greatest attributes is his speed. He's quick as. So I thought you know, overall he'd done a good job, considering, you know, his lack of experience, you know, playing rugby league, but also in that position. So yeah, I think we might have a player on our hands.
It's a big ask of him, Harry, to come in and do that here, particularly here where it's pretty fearsome sort of ground to come to, you know?
Yeah, I think, Moe's showed his want and his hard work through. We had a little story about, what it meant to him to come to the Storm and take the opportunity. That's probably some for you guys to dig into a little bit later down the track. But, also his pre-season, he went after it, and there were so many good reports of him working hard, and then he had a couple of niggles. And last week was his first game back from those niggles, and to be honest, the team wanted him in this week for his opportunity. So I think it's pleasing, and you always remember your first, and your first one's the hardest to get. So he's up to speed, and technically there's probably a few things that he can work on and we can work on with him, but like I said, your first game's always the hardest to get, and it's always a journey to get that first one, and hopefully he can build on that and get some more game time under his belt.
Craig, I know you've a few trips to that, but what was it about it that gave you the confidence throwing in after one rugby league game?
Probably shouldn't say this, but we're basically running out of troops. So, we lost Marion Seve, probably would have been in there, and we lost him with a hamstring injury. I think our first training session of the week, or our second training session of the week. So, it doesn't sound nice, I suppose, but he was the last man standing. So, but like I say, we could have, put one of the back rows out there, whatever. But what we've seen, as Harry said, in the pre-season, and he didn't finish the pre-season because he had a few niggles. But before that, you could see as I said, his speed and ability to get to, get to the action quickly was something that really stood out to me. And so, it was a little bit of, we ran out of troops, but, I think I had, reasonable confidence in him. I think, talking to Harry and the leaders, they had confidence in him, so we give him a shot.
I think on that, we could have, there's a couple of other guys that could have filled in that, like Sewer couldn't play wing, Big Kane Bradley, but, it was sort of more a chat to Hughesy and Munster, and they wanted Moses in. They felt he'd earned that through his training, and they felt comfortable with what he'd done at training. We could have moved a few guys around and changed positions, but they've seen enough footy and are experienced, and they're out there defending next to him, and they wanted him in there. So to me, that gave me a lot of confidence for him to perform, and I think he can take a lot of confidence out of that too.
Grant Anderson's been a real quiet achiever for you guys for a few years now.
Yeah, no, he has. It's a shame for us. He's leaving us, next year. But again, whenever, with all due respect, whenever he's been in our team, he's always done a good job. And like today, he played a really important part. Obviously, he scored 3 tries and made some good moves for us coming out of our own end. But I think he was a really big help for Mo as well. He's a really good talker, GA. So like I say, it's and whenever we're sort of got to back down, he'll go to the centre or go to the wing or go to in the halves, or can play fullback. So he just does such a great job for us. But I think a big part of how Mo handled it pretty well today was GA would have been helping him the whole time, talking to him and encouraging him and directing him. So he's playing really well, GA, and we'd like to send him out on a good note.
Any thanks to Ryan and Xavier?
I don't think it's too bad. X just felt a little bit of tightness in his hamstring, so obviously with the situation of the game, I don't know whether he would have went on if it was a tight game. So I don't think they're too worried about that. And who was the other one?
Paps.
Oh, Paps, yeah. I think he just got a bit of a cork in his back, actually. I think when he was going up for a bomb, he copped a knee on the way down or whatever. So, again, with the score the way it was, we just thought it was safe to get him off, especially, X, when you hear hamstring tightness, you always sort of panic a bit about that. But hopefully, they'll be okay for next week.
Craig, there are no sin-bins or dramas today, but do you have any thoughts on the high tackle that's this weekend?
Oh, I haven't seen every game. I've seen a couple of games, but I don't really want to comment on it. It's not my sort of area. I'm not in control of that, but Thanks.